Hello, welcome back. It's Nat. I am playing with the Stampers Anonymous Christmas Blueprint stamp set. We all know, well, a lot of us know of the Tim Holtz Blueprint range. I've stamped it down with some Versamark and we're going to do a little bit of embossing. I have stamped the center one right in the middle. You can sort of see there my stamp is actually a little bit, I got distracted for a second. My stamp is actually not dead set on, can you see there on the left hand side? It's not dead set straight, but it worked fine. And that was the main point. So I was happy with that. So it does still, it's fine. I am working around my cardstock. I have stamped one in the middle. We're just using white embossing powder. I don't have because I'm not cleaning my stamp in between. But what I'm doing is my cardstock is stationary and then I've sort of rolled the stamp. I've positioned it basically where I wanted it, and I've rolled the stamp onto the cardstock. I had no problem, but you do need to be careful. This is the Hero Arts contour ink pad, which is sort of like their no line colouring. So guess what? We're going to do some no line colouring. I've just got a little gooby there. I have my usual skin tone combination. E04, E11, E01 and E000. No line colouring is it can be harder for you to do, obviously, because you don't have the dead set lines, and this is being stamped about I can't remember whether I definitely did 2 times. I can't remember if I did it 3. This is my reference that I'm going to go off, because you can get them all sorts of different, white and gold and with green and all that sort of stuff, but this is the one I chose. So no line watercolouring can be a little bit harder on the eyes, but it can also be a little bit more forgiving, I think, personally. That's my opinion. Because if you are going to cut it out, you can straighten up those lines if something goes a little bit haywire, if you're cutting it out. If you're not, you just need to go over the edge in a colour like a straight line, because if you do like the flicking or even what I do right there, the line can be a little bit wonky. You can see with his left arm, his shoulder is not quite straight. But I do go back over it later on and fix that up. His jacket is going to look a little bit, and that's also the thing with no line colouring. It can look a really bit strange until you finish it all off. It can look a little bit NQR, not quite right. I have R59, R46, R27 and R14 for my reds. That is, I've got a little bit of underneath his cross there that I will do very shortly. I haven't forgotten. Not yet. Can we just note here, if you've been with me, you know that I think I'm not the only person in the world that does this. You get carried away and you put the dark colours down before you put your light colours. Can we just note I actually did the skin before I did my reds. The problem is I'm going to colour his trousers white and his cross in front of him is going to be a gold, which strictly speaking is not a dark and solid and strong colour as we have with the red. So, as she sighs, not quite so loudly, do it before you do your really strong colours. But I know we get carried away, because heaven help me, I do. And then suddenly I'm sort of going, oh, poop. I did not colour the lighter gold or the white. So it is possible. You just have to be very, very careful. You're going to see, I think more so when I do the gold, I am going to, because I'm going to cut my toy soldier out. I have a whole heap of cardstock that is not going to be used. So I am basically going to regularly wipe off my gold, yellow markers at the top of my page, because they're the ones that you're going to, especially the lighter colours, you're going to see where you've really sort of, this is where I'm like, oh, no. So we'll use a little bit of C3 and C1. And I'm just sort of trying to be super careful. For the white, I've got another piece of cardstock on the side that I'm rubbing out. The drawing did have these two lines that sort of bring in his legs, but I left it. I left it the way it was because, you know, it could be anything and I liked it, so I did it. My yellows here are E08, YR16, Y17 and Y00. The E08 is not so much of a big deal, but when you get down into the 17 and the 00, yes, even the YR16 is going to be a little bit more. So you'll sort of see me do a little bit more down through the center without wiping. I mean, his cuffs are a different kettle of fish, but when we go down into the center here, with the lighter colours, I'm going to rub it off. Maybe I'm rubbing it off. I do rub it off at the top, but you can't see it. I probably got, there we go. I probably had a piece of cardstock on the side of me and was using that. I can't remember. I'm still struggling. Okay. I don't know if I've mentioned this on my past videos. A couple of weeks ago, I was sick. After that, I get a chest infection. After that, I get a lot of asthma. So I'm struggling with a lot of asthma at the moment. And so therefore the brain does quite a few little pauses, shall we say. And sometimes gets a little bit forgetful because, you know, breathing is a requirement. Just saying. It's not too bad. Heaps of people have it way worse than me, but I'm just saying my brain is a little bit foggy. I tried to do this voiceover about 4 times before this one because my brain just stopped. I have C10, C9, not C10, 110, which is sort of, you can use 100 or the 110 intermittently. There's supposed to be a difference. For the life of me, I don't know. But there's probably other people there in around that would say that it is more this or more that. I don't personally think there is that much of a difference, so I am not worrying about it too much. Black shoes can be really hard to define the two of them. But I've got the dark line down the center and he's a person, so your mind is sort of going to connect those dots. It's not going to be so much of a big deal. And we've got the rest of the design to distract everything. I am using my golds again for you can see my rubbing off on the side there. For this little diamond shape that he had in his hat, because I want it noted that I remembered to do this before I did my black. So do what I say, don't do what I do, because I'm human. I totally stuff up sometimes, quite regularly, honestly. And I don't think I'm the only person in the world that gets totally engrossed and sort of goes, oh, you should have done that first. Silly belly. Or something. I have dark around the edges of that diamond shape, which is going to give him the impression, the diamond, that it's standing out a little bit. And we're just filling in. So it's pretty much, that's it for our little toy soldier. He doesn't have a face. He cannot breathe, but he's all good. You can see the top of his hat on the right-hand side here. That's where cutting out and everything is going to be just finish it off. A little bit of white gel pen. The toy soldier sentiment down the bottom, I didn't know whether I was going to use it, but spoiler, we're not going to do it. This is where I stuff up. When I just did his around his face there, I've got a red on his face. So there's a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to use a white blender pen to push that colour to the back of the cardstock. That is pretty much what it does. It's sort of moving it away from the top. Red is notoriously extremely hard to go around the edges. I've also gone around the edges of my little image using the corresponding colour. So red on the side, and there you go, the other. So we've blended it back, we've pushed it back, brought the colour of the skin back in, and then I've trimmed off whatever I couldn't get off. I went around the edges on his, because it's a no-line colour, I just used the markers that I had, and just a little bit of red around on his sleeves. On his hat we had the black, and I just did that and finished it off a little bit. I have trimmed my panels of my snowflakes down to 1 inch thick. They're basically 1 inch thick, and they're a little bit longer, so I still have this piece of cardstock that I can use for something else later on. And I am applying the outer edges and just using my grid line to try and get them even, spaced with how much. So you can sort of see there, I think it's like 1/4 inch from the top and bottom. I got a bit of glue oozing out, but I'm going to hide that anyway. I have, the paper is from the White Basics 6x6 paper collection. Well, they have the bigger sizes too. I will leave a link down to that down below. And the sentiment I'm using now, I've just sort of gone in, it's the Merry Christmas sentiment sheets. And honestly, this sentiment was a singular one that was already cut. So like, let's use that. And I have applied a little bit of foam. So my toy soldier, I nearly said tin, well, I pretty much did, but is double thickness of foam, and my Happy Holidays is just a little bit lower. I've got a bit of gold stickles. I did sort of go to finish this off and decided I needed some more. So I have some sequins, confetti sequins that I'm just adhering to my card piece. And then I did finish off this card, and you will see in the photos I've actually put a little bit of ground underneath him because I can't help myself. I have to. You have to be very, very careful with your Copics, so wipe them off regularly. That's my card for today. I hope you're well. Take care, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.